If you were born on the ninth, or if you have a 9 life path, your energy is associated with the Hermit Tarot card. And if you look at the Hermit Tarot card, which is the 9th card in the deck, what you will see is an old man amongst darkness, by himself, carrying a lantern. The light in the darkness gives him intuition, gives him the ability to see. So that's what it symbolizes. Him being by himself and him being old symbolizes how his wisdom, which is him being in old age, separates him from others. But even though a 9 is separated from others through his wisdom, because 9 is a combination of all the numbers, it's still part of the collective. The 9 is in the darkness, in the material realm, just like everyone else. But they're not of the material realm. And so they have to stay alone in order to stay pure. And the more time a 9 spends around other people, the more corrupt their vessel is going to be. 9s come into this world. Think of an empty or a clear glass of water. That's the 9 when they come into this world. And as a 9, they're supposed to leave this world with that same purity. But the more time a 9 spends around other people, no matter who they are, the more corrupted that water becomes. And you start to see color. And you start to see bacteria building up. You start to see that water become dirty and non-drinkable. And this is because the 9 is a combination of all numbers, which makes it easily influenced. Any number you add to 9 just equals itself. If a 9 hangs out with 3s, 9 plus 3 makes it 12, 1 plus 2 makes it 3. If a 9 hangs out with 4s, 9 plus 4 is 13, 1 plus 2 makes it 4. Any number a 9 hangs out with, even other 9s, a 9 will become. Even 9 plus 9 equals another 9. Because 9 plus 9 is 18, 1 plus 8 makes it 9. And so 9s are just an open vessel. They're like sponges. They absorb everything. They absorb everything. And so they have very universal-like thoughts, because their thoughts are a combination of all the numbers. And so they don't need to be around other people to feel connected to the rest of humanity. They're deeply connected to the rest of humanity. They can't turn that off. They're deeply emotional. Deeply emotional. And because 9 is governed by the planet Mars, the planet of war, 9s go through the most suffering. And all 9s have to go through some level of suffering in order to develop compassion. And once they develop compassion, because they're already universal thinkers, now they're going to have thoughts filled with compassion. And they're going to want to make the world a better place, because they're very idealistic. 9s are very in tune with their imagination. But a lot of 9s that can't find meaning in the suffering, they end up just not believing in a better world. A lot of 9s are dragged out of their imagination and forced into reality. And this is when 9s go crazy or chaotic. 9 is the number of war. All 9s want to fight against something. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily physically aggressive. Bob Marley was a 9. He wasn't an aggressive person, but he was a fighter. He was fighting against violence in Jamaica. King Von was born on the 9th. He actually was physically aggressive. He was fighting actual people. He was fighting against peace. But he's a 9 that has been forced to deal with reality. And 9s hate reality. And so when a 9 is forced to deal with reality, that anger is so intense that they have the capability of being some of the most negative people on the planet. When 9s can't find some level of meaning in the suffering that they're going through, this is when they become crash outs or turn to be very negative. But 9s are able to see the bigger picture and pursue an ideal or a cause that's going to aim to make the world a better place. This is when a 9 activates their higher abilities. Gandhi was a 9. Mother Teresa was a 9. If you look at Nikola Tesla's original birth certificate, he's also a 9. Neville Goddard is a 9. And so 9s are very much capable of being humanitarians. But not all of them turn into that. The famous hitman that just got released from prison and told all those crazy stories, he's also a 9. And so yeah, the 9s that give up on their higher ideals, their violence and their worry type of nature goes into the physical realm. But the 9s that are still in tune with their imagination, they use all this aggressive energy towards their ideals or towards their goals. And those are the peaceful 9s that you see. And so if you're a 9 out there, you will only go as far as your beliefs. If you believe that there's no hope for this world, that will be your reality. And all your actions will be based upon that. If you believe that there is hope for a better place and you work towards that, your life's going to reflect that. But as a 9, all of you guys want to live your ideals. All of you guys want to bring whatever you're imagining into reality. 9 is a very idealistic number. And so when you're pursuing something that you're emotionally involved with, this is when you're at your most powerful. And the cause that you're emotionally involved with will be a cause that you will never give up. 9s have a fighting spirit. They never quit. And so take that same mindset and use it to accomplish all your goals. Find meaning in that suffering, that you're going through that suffering to develop your compassion. 9s go through the most suffering so that they can develop the most compassion, so that they can use all that energy to devote it to a higher cause. And so if you're a 9 and you're going through it and you really find yourself struggling, understand that you're only struggling to develop compassion. Struggle develops compassion because once you go through deep and dark situations and people give you grace, now you want to give that same thing to others. No matter how evil a 9 is, if someone gives that 9 grace, they'll feel so ashamed of themselves that they'll never do it again. 9s live by honor and they die by honor. Even the evil ones live by honor. But they have strong beliefs because the 9th house in astrology is the house of beliefs. So 9s are an embodiment of that. All right? To learn more about my numerology teachings, click the link in my profile bio and read my book, Supreme Mathematics. Or if you like a reading, just book a session. You can also find that in the link in my profile bio. But have a great rest of your day.